Well, hey, welcome to the O&O. I'm your girl, Channing Curtis, and today we have got to talk all things Dallas Cowboys because on Monday, it was announced that the Dallas Cowboys will be parting ways with their head coach, Mike McCarthy, and a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it.
Well, I thought Mike McCarthy would be the head coach, so this is a bit of a surprise for me today that he's not going to be, and what went into those conversations that Schefter talked about, I'm not exactly sure, but it suggests that there's not a real plan. I mean, and the fact that they haven't had the opportunity to maybe interview a Ben Johnson and some of these others, Aaron Glenn. I think that what Schefter said as far as Kellen Moore being a candidate, that seems logical to me. A guy who has familiarity with the building. He's worked obviously with the Cowboys and with Jerry Jones, and they know each other very well. In fact, when Mike McCarthy got the job, it was told to Mike that Kellen Moore would be the offensive coordinator. So that's how much the Jones family thinks of him.
So according to several reports, the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy just could not come to terms on McCarthy's new contract. Of course, his contract was up with this past season. And I don't think it comes as a surprise to many people that the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy decided to part ways. Now, this was McCarthy's 5th year with the Dallas Cowboys, and during his time with Dallas, he actually went 49-35. And this was the first year since Mike McCarthy has taken over the reins that the Dallas Cowboys actually missed the playoffs. And under Mike McCarthy, the Dallas Cowboys won 12 games for 3 consecutive seasons and won the NFC East twice. But the problems with the Dallas Cowboys never seem to be in the regular season. It's always the postseason that they have an issue with. But Mike McCarthy isn't the only Dallas Cowboys coach who has struggled to get postseason wins. As a matter of fact, the Cowboys, of course, have not been to the NFC Championship game in 29 years. And their last head coach, Jason Garrett, went 85-67 with regular season wins. However, he only won 1 postseason game as well in his 5-year tenure. And as much as I was ready for Jason Garrett to leave the Dallas Cowboys head coaching position, I do not feel the same way about Mike McCarthy. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this one, but hear me out. If the coaches are consistently winning regular season games, maybe the issues aren't the actual coaches. Maybe, just maybe, it's the entire front office, starting with the GM and the owner, Jerry Jones. Now, I think it's safe to say a lot of people have these same sentiments when it comes to Jerry Jones, that he tends to be a disaster when it comes to really managing and being the general manager of this team. But he also enables his coaches. He doesn't allow them to make the big decisions. He doesn't allow them to be as tough as they actually need to be. And if anything, he stifles the growth of his team by making catastrophic business decisions. Like, I don't know, signing Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb to these massive last-minute deals that didn't allow us to pick up anybody else in the offseason. And until Jerry Jones either steps down as the GM or lets somebody else finally actually take the reins, the Dallas Cowboys will continue to be mediocre. And now, as the Dallas Cowboys are looking for yet another coach to lead them into some type of postseason glory, they're going to find themselves in the same situation as they were before. Because just like in years past, the Cowboys are now beholden to these super massive contracts, and whoever comes in to take over this team isn't going to be able to have any wiggle room in picking up many other new players. Now, a lot of sports analysts are saying that this is one of the most coveted head coaching positions in the NFL that's available right now. But not everybody agrees.
As far as a coveted job, I don't know that that's accurate. I mean, really? I do think the Cowboys are obviously a high-profile team. Whoever is covered or whoever is head coach of that team is certainly going to draw a lot of attention. But I think most football people that take over as a head coach, they want to do it on their terms.
That's fair.
That's hard to do. And it's, if you take a Dan Campbell, for instance, is Dan Campbell if he's with the Dallas Cowboys? It's hard to imagine that he is. It's hard to imagine that a lot of these coaches might be. So I love the Dallas Cowboys. I played there for 12 years. I wish them well. But to say that it's a coveted job, I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that.
So right now, there are a lot of names being thrown around as a potential new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, including the offensive and defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Of course, Aaron Glenn is one of the front runners right now as the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and he's also from Texas and actually went to A&M. So maybe he does actually want to come home. However, he's still unproven as a head coach in the NFL, but he's not the only one on the list that has that same issue, because now Deion Sanders' name is also being thrown around, and sports experts are also saying that he's actually already in talks with the Cowboys and may be interested in the position. Not only did he play for the team for 5 seasons, but he also won a Super Bowl with the team. And he still has a house in Dallas. As a matter of fact, has lived there for years, raised his sons there, raised his family there. So it's understandable why Dallas might be a good option for him. Now, Deion, of course, was the head coach at Jackson State before moving on to Colorado to become the head coach there, of course, with his son, Shedeur Sanders. He had great success at Jackson State and finally got a winning season in his second year with Colorado. But he also doesn't have any head coaching experience in the NFL, nor any coaching experience at the NFL level. But rumor has it that he's also talking to the Raiders for their head coaching position. And we know that the Raiders are also looking at his son Shedeur for possibly being the third highest draft pick. Now, it is worth noting, too, for Deion to leave Colorado, somebody would have to buy out his contract, which at this time is about $2 million. And while I think his name being thrown around is pretty interesting, I do not think that he is ready yet to be a good NFL coach. I think he has the potential to be a great college coach right now and eventually maybe a great NFL coach. But I don't think somebody with his level of experience is ready to take on the Dallas Cowboys head coaching position. And most importantly, I do not think that he will get along with Jerry Jones at that capacity.
Ultimately, when you look at this job, and I kind of sum this job up in this regard, if the owner is not going to change, are you willing to hire a coach with enough cachet to challenge you on not changing? And it's what's going to be best for the locker room and the guys that's playing on the field. We throw this word distractions around a lot in football. Things are happening and there's a lot of distractions going on. Distractions are a part of playing in the NFL. That's not singular to any team in the league as far as having distractions. The difference is in Dallas is the guy that makes the decisions creates the distractions. And that is why it's so difficult and why I agree with Troy to say this is a coveted job. You'll take the job because they'll pay you $5-6 million. We human. We understand that. But if you have a plan long term to win, implement a culture, change the way things are being done, that's something you really have to think about as a coach that's taking this job seriously, knowing that you play it on the margins anyway.
Now, at this time, there are also a lot of other names that are being thrown around, including Cliff Kingsbury, Ron Rivera, and John Gruden, just to name a few. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys because we all know who's really running that team, and that's Jerry Jones. And until that changes, well, we can just really forget about any Super Bowl appearances. And yeah, probably not too many postseason appearances in general. But what do you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know who you think should be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. All right, friends, that's all for me today. But before you go, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for weekly over-opinionated and over-caffeinated sports take.